Open-world games on the Nintendo Switch offer a rare blend of freedom and portability, letting you explore massive landscapes wherever you go. From sprawling fantasy realms to chaotic modern sandboxes, each of these titles brings its own flavor of adventure, discovery, and experimentation. Today, we're breaking down some of the strongest open-world experiences available on this system, what they do well, what makes them stand out, and why they're still worth playing.
Few games redefine a genre so completely that everything afterward feels like a response. Breath of the Wild is that rare landmark. It drops you into Hyrule with almost no handholding, trusting curiosity to guide every step. The world feels genuinely alive. Weather shifts matter, wildlife reacts, and physics shape your solutions more than scripted events. The joy comes from discovery. A mountain that looked distant an hour ago is suddenly beneath your feet, and its peak hides a puzzle you never saw coming. Combat rewards experimentation rather than brute force, and shrines neatly break up exploration with clever challenges. Even years later, it's a masterclass in freedom, pacing, and wonder.
When a game's side quests overshadow most titles' main stories, you know you're in special territory. The Witcher 3 on Switch packs a staggering amount of narrative depth into a portable system. What stands out isn't just the size of the world, it's how personal everything feels. Villages have their own tragedies, monsters have history, and decisions echo far beyond the moment you make them. Combat is flexible, letting you lean into magic, potions, or pure steel, and it all feeds into Geralt's identity as a weary professional navigating political chaos. While visuals on Switch inevitably scale down, the storytelling, music, and quest design remain untouched. It's still one of the finest RPGs ever made. If open-world games are about freedom, then few deliver motion as exhilarating as this one. Dying Light turns urban traversal into the star of the show. Sprinting across rooftops, vaulting fences, and improvising escape routes create a sense of momentum few open-world titles match. Daytime offers loot runs and exploration, but the game flips into high-stakes survival when night falls, unleashing predators that force you to adapt or die. Combat blends melee crunch with crafting creativity, and the Switch port runs surprisingly well, maintaining the thrill even on the go. The city of Haran may be bleak, but its dynamic systems make every outing unpredictable and gripping.
Few historical sandboxes feel as adventurous as sailing into uncharted waters with your crew roaring behind you. This collection bundles Black Flag and Rogue, two pirate-era Assassin's Creed games that lean heavily into exploration and naval combat. Black Flag remains a standout, letting you chart your own course across the Caribbean, hunt treasure, board enemy ships, and build your fleet. Rogue, though smaller, adds an intriguing twist by placing you in the shoes of a former assassin turned Templar. Both games mix stealth, parkour, and open-sea freedom, creating a world that feels both expansive and densely packed with activities. On Switch, the portability enhances the appeal of short sailing sessions or stealth raids.
There's a reason the phrase, "you can play it however you want," became synonymous with Skyrim. This edition brings the massive fantasy world to a handheld system without sacrificing the scope that made it iconic. The freedom to shape your character, mage, thief, warrior, or something stranger remains its biggest draw. Every cave, ruin, and mountain invites exploration, and the game rarely pushes you toward the main quest unless you decide to follow it. The Switch version adds motion controls and amiibo support, but the real magic is simply being able to dive into Skyrim anywhere. Even after countless re-releases, wandering through snow-covered valleys never loses its charm.
Sometimes the most refreshing open worlds are the ones that don't take themselves seriously. Lego City Undercover blends comedy, family-friendly action, and a surprisingly large open world into a lighthearted adventure. You play as Chase McCain, an undercover cop whose charm and clumsiness set the tone for a story full of slapstick humor and movie parodies. The city itself is fun to roam, filled with collectibles, disguises, and puzzles that encourage exploration without overwhelming you. Vehicle chases, platforming, and simple combat keep things playful. It's not deep in the traditional sense, but it's cheerful, imaginative,
active, and ideal for players who want an open world that feels welcoming rather than intimidating.
Few open worlds encourage destruction as freely and gleefully as this one. Set on a terraformed Mars, Red Faction Guerrilla hands you a sledgehammer and asks you to reshape the battlefield. Buildings crumble realistically thanks to its physics-driven destruction system, making every encounter feel like a small puzzle of angles, supports, and explosive possibilities. The story sits lightly in the background, but the fun comes from improvisation, smashing through walls, leveling bases, and watching structures collapse in chaotic cascades. The map is wide, but easy to navigate, and missions often reward creativity over precision. On Switch, it's a surprisingly cathartic open-world experience that still feels unique years later.
When chaos becomes the design philosophy, you get a sandbox that begs you to break the rules. Saints Row the Third embraces absurdity, offering an open world where over-the-top weapons, wild customization, and outrageous missions dominate the experience. Steelport is less about realism and more about playground energy. You're meant to jump in, cause trouble, and laugh at the results. The humor is intentionally unhinged, the action exaggerated, and the mission structure built to escalate from loud to absurd. It's not subtle, but that's the charm. The Switch edition bundles all DLC and performs well enough to preserve the game's frantic personality wherever you play.
Every climbable giant and every treacherous night reminds you that this world wasn't built to coddle you. Dragon's Dogma blends action combat with an open world that feels dangerous and untamed. Its signature feature, climbing monsters, turns battles into physical struggles where positioning matters as much as stats. Exploration is atmospheric, sometimes lonely, and the day-night cycle dramatically changes the mood. Darkness brings real threats that encourage preparation. The pawn system, letting you recruit and customize AI companions, adds a unique social layer as your creations assist other players. The Switch port is polished, portable, and faithful to the original, making it easier than ever to lose yourself in its rugged fantasy landscape.
If you've ever wanted an open world built around seamless space-to-planet travel, this is a hidden gem. Starlink mixes starship combat with ground exploration, letting you dive through a planet's atmosphere in real time without a loading screen. Each world has its own biome, wildlife, and threats, and the modular shipbuilding system allows quick weapon swaps to adapt to enemies. The campaign is straightforward but enjoyable, and the Switch version stands out thanks to its exclusive Star Fox content, which fits surprisingly well into the universe. It's an approachable, open-world adventure with fast, fluid gameplay that's ideal for players who enjoy sci-fi action without overwhelming complexity.